let's start off with a question. What do earthworms and Einstein have in common? Feel free to take a guess. Don't be shy. They're both living things. We need to talk after this talk. It's a very smart answer. They both have eyes. Sorry. I like that. Very creative. All right. I'll give you some more answers. Can't get over that they both have eyes thing. All right. Both of them live on planet Earth. Both of them need to eat to stay alive. And both their names start with the letter E. I know these answers are nothing unusual, but there is one more thing that they have in common that I would like to share with you. And this thing might blow your mind. So here goes. Both of them are driven by discomfort. I know you're a little confused, so let me clarify by using a thought experiment. Suppose we have a cage, and we put an earthworm in it. This cage is divided into two areas, Area 1 and Area 2. These two areas are the same, except the floor in Area 1 will give the worm a constant electric shock whenever he stays on it. Now, the question is, on which area do you think he'll choose to stay? Area 2, you guys are genius. I like that. Thank you. Have a genius audience. Definitely. Now, if we put Einstein in a cage, poor Einstein, and we do the exact same thing to him, then on which area do you think he'll choose to stay? You are Einstein. You're descendants of Einstein. Definitely, naturally, he will choose to stay there. So you see, this is why I told you that both Einstein and earthworms are driven by discomfort. In fact, all lives are driven by discomfort, including yours. But we'll get to you later. For now, let's go back to Einstein. You see, in real life, Einstein wasn't put in a cage and he didn't receive any electric shock. Although if you look at his hair, then you might think that he definitely did. We got the same hair as well, you know. That's one thing I'm proud of. It's natural too. I digress. All right, let's go back to the topic. In real life, Einstein, although he wasn't driven by the pain of getting an electric shock, but he was driven perhaps even more greatly by another kind of discomfort, curiosity. You see, when you look at it carefully, you realize that curiosity is also a form of discomfort. It's an annoying itch in the mind that you can only scratch by finding out the answer. It's the pain of not knowing which arises together with the desire to know. So you see, without discomfort, Einstein wouldn't come up with any theory. Because although he was a genius, he wouldn't have any drive to use his brilliant mind to figure out anything. Hence, from earthworm to Einstein, discomfort is the inherent drive behind all lives. And when that discomfort becomes great enough, it transforms itself into pain. We often think that pain is always a bad thing, but it isn't. Pain is actually a form of power, a great power. And like all kinds of power, it depends on how you use it, which will determine whether it's good or bad. Now, we have already looked at how the pain of not knowing propelled Einstein to try to figure out the mystery of the universe, so that was supposedly a good thing. So now we'll look at how pain can be bad, like really bad. This is Adolf Hitler. You all know him, I'm sure, though not personally, I hope. Hitler had a lot of pain. You can even see it on his face. He felt that German people were being treated very unfairly and that Germany's true greatness was being severely suppressed by the Versailles Treaty. And of course, he also felt that the Jews made this world a terrible and disgusting place, and that they, amongst many other groups of people, were to blame for Germany's downfall. In fact, even the book he wrote was called Mein Kampf. He wrote a book. And it means in German, my struggle, or if you like, my pain. So you see, Hitler had a lot of pain. And what did that great pain propel him to do? We all know the answer. This is the horrifying dark side of pain. On the flip side, however, almost every single great thing in this world also owes its existence to the power of pain and discomfort. From the world of inventor, for example, we have Louis Braille, who was blinded by a tool called or, just like the one you can see on the screen right now. But instead of just cursing the world, the blindness propelled him to invent the Braille system that every blind person is still using today. And in fact, he used that very same tool that blinded him, the or, to create the first Braille letters for the world. Amazing. From the world of artists, we have Pablo Picasso, who painted this world-renowned painting Guernica from the great pain he felt when he heard about the bombing of the town of Guernica during the Spanish Civil War. And in fact, this painting was considered by many to be the greatest anti-war painting ever created. From the world of musicians, we have Adele, who wrote the famous song Someone Like You after her agonizing heartbreak. No, I will not sing that song for you today, but I want you to see that she literally transcribed her pain into the music. From the world of business, we have Sir Richard Branson, who said that frustration has driven me from music to space and will keep me working for years to come. Frustration is a form of pain. And in fact, Sir Richard himself also founded his own airline out of the sheer frustration and pain he felt when his flight was abruptly cancelled for no apparent reason. And last but not least, we have Malala Yousafzai, the youngest Nobel Prize recipient ever. Malala felt so much pain from seeing so many children around the world being denied basic education. But then this great pain in turn propelled her to fearlessly advocate for the rights for education for every single child in the world. These are but a handful of examples from an ocean of great individuals who chose to transform their pain into the power to make this world a better place. But then this shouldn't come as such a surprise for us. Why, you may wonder? Because here's the best part of all. Perhaps I forgot to tell you that the word passion came from the Latin word passio, which means, you guess it, pain and suffering. So it was one of the biggest realizations in my life when I found out that you really cannot have passion without pain. And in fact, the more pain you have around a certain issue, the more passion you have when you're trying to fix that issue. For example, perhaps seeing someone destroy nature gives you great pain. So you become greatly passionate about protecting nature. Or perhaps seeing an unjust society gives you great pain. So you become greatly passionate about creating a society with more equal opportunity. Or perhaps seeing your loved ones live in poverty gives you great pain. So you become greatly passionate about earning more wealth and success in order to help your family. Whatever your passion may be, it originates from the pain you feel about something. And without this very pain, this very discomfort, you wouldn't feel like doing anything. Not for yourself, not for your loved ones, and not for the world. So, of course, the great power of pain cannot be overstated. But its power does not end there. Because pain does not only give us passion, but it also gives us compassion. Alright, do you remember that the word passion came from passio, pain and suffering? Well, it turns out that the word cum in Latin means with and suffering. So, with and together, sorry. So when you put these two together, then you realize that to feel compassion literally means to feel pain with someone. And in fact, the more pain you feel with that person or that animal, then the more compassion you will have for them. And in fact, there's even a scientific proof for this. In 2016, researchers at the Ohio State University found out that not only painkiller acetaminophen or paracetamol can lower your sense of pain and suffering, but it can also lower your sense of empathy. For real. Now, I'm not trying to suggest that we all stop taking paracetamol. In fact, like after this talk, you might even need one. But what I'm trying to let you see is that although pain can be the power that propels the cruelest individuals in the world, it can also be the force that fuels the kindest individuals in the world. Let's take a monumental figure like Buddha, for example. From what we read about him, when Buddha was still a prince, he saw an old man, a sick man, and a corpse. These sights made him feel extremely sad, and this sadness and pain in turn propelled him to search for a way out of suffering, not only for himself though, but for all other beings as well. So it goes without saying that Buddha would have never gone in search of truth or enlightenment if he felt absolutely fine, living in his palace, enjoying food and fine wine. Well, there was no wine back then in India, but you get the point. You see, for Buddha, just like Einstein, it was this pain of not knowing, this curiosity, coupled with the pain, the great pain of seeing suffering in others, which propelled him to help the whole world. But then this brings us to the most important question of all. How could the same pain propel different individuals to do such radically different things? How could one person express pain by trying to wipe out the whole human race, whereas another person express pain by trying to help out the whole human race? The answer lies in what I called the transference of pain as compared to the transformation of pain. So what is the transference of pain? It's when you use these three major tools, revenge, violence, and blame, in order to transfer the pain you feel onto other people. The truth is that most atrocities in this world can be, including the one Hitler committed, can be traced back to the transference of pain itself. As for its opposite, the transformation of pain, I've already shown you several examples throughout this talk, but I still have one last example I would like to share with you. And this one is very personal. This is me. What a chubby guy. I know, I don't like that haircut either, trust me. Hate it. You see, I remember that the first time I had a chance to speak in front of the crowd was when I was in 9th grade. That year I was forced to join the debating team for our house. I was in boarding school. And that very same year, surely enough, we lost the very first round. So I remember so vividly as I walked up to my room that one senior student came to stop me and said, "I don't want you to compete for our house anymore. You're just one bad apple that spoils the whole barrel." You see, I already did my best. So that one particular comment made me feel completely worthless. I felt like a loser who would never be any good in speaking in front of the crowd. After I took some time to pull myself together, however, I finally decided to stop letting that pain make me bitter. But instead, I would use it as a fuel to become better. After that day, I kept practicing my public speaking skill day in, day out, until the year after that, I was confident enough to join the debating team again. And that same year, we won first place. Oh, thank you, but actually we have to give thanks to that senior student, so thank you, senior student, for that comment. In fact, the year after that, I became the chairman of the debating club itself, and I also took first place in Thailand National Speech Competition. That's my mother, by the way. She's here also. Hi, Mom. As I went abroad to study in New Zealand and Australia, I also competed there. Sometimes I lost, sometimes I won, but every time I learned from the pain and improved. You see, surprising enough though, nowadays, apart from being a full-time writer, this is what I do for a living. Giving public lectures across the nation, sharing my knowledge about the brain and human mind. That one painful comment pushed this little earthworm all the way from being a bad apple in a barrel to being here on this TEDx stage today. Thank you. I love this audience. Can I take you around the world with me? Wherever I give a speech? Is that possible? Oh, thank you. It's gonna cost a lot for me though. That would be too much pain. All right, anyway, I'll turn it into power. All right, so this is how I chose to transform my pain into my passion, my power, my purpose. But now my job here is done. Now it is your turn, your time to choose. We all have pain. But it's not the amount of pain we have which will determine our destiny, but where we allow it to push us. So where you allow your pain to push you? Towards violence or wisdom? Towards cruelty or compassion? Towards resentment or improvement? Towards bitterness or greatness? When pain arrives, as it surely will you choose to transfer it or transform it? You see, an earthworm does not have such a choice, but you do. Because in the end, pain can only push an earthworm from area 1 of the cage to area 2 of the cage. But pain can push a human being like you from being an ordinary individual to becoming a legend. So here's my one last question to you. What is your greatest pain? And how will you use it to change the world? Thank you.